ಅಮೆರಿಕಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಧಾನಿ ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿ ಭೇಟಿ ನೀಡಿರುವ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವರ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ನ ಹಿರಿಯ ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಕರಾಗಿರುವ ಅನಿರ್ಬನ್ ಶರ್ಮಾ ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 9 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಪ್ರಧಾನಿ ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿ ಆಡಳಿತದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮೆರಿಕಕ್ಕೆ ಇದೇ ಮೊದಲ ಬಾರಿಗೆ ಅಧಿಕೃತ ಭೇಟಿ ನೀಡಿದ್ದು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಮಹತ್ವದ್ದಾಗಿದೆ. ಪ್ರಧಾನಿಯವರ ಅಮೆರಿಕ ಭೇಟಿ 3 ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನು ಒಳಗೊಂಡಿದೆ. ವಿಶ್ವ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತದ ಸ್ಥಾನಮಾನ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸುವುದು, ತಾವು ಆಚರಿಸುವ ಪದ್ಧತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಪ್ರಚುರಪಡಿಸುವುದು, ಭಾರತ ನಾಯಕತ್ವಕ್ಕೆ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಮನ್ನಣೆ ಸಿಗುವಂತೆ ಮಾಡುವುದಾಗಿದೆ. ಯೋಗದ ಮೂಲಕ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಭಾರತಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟೀಯ ಗೌರವ ತಂದುಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 2023ರ ವರ್ಷ ಸಿರಿಧಾನ್ಯಗಳ ವರ್ಷವಾಗಿ ಆಚರಿಸಲಾಗುತ್ತಿದೆ. ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮೂಲಕ ಭಾರತ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯತ್ತ ಮುನ್ನುಗ್ಗುತ್ತಿದೆ. ಜಾಗತಿಕ ತಾಪಮಾನ ಇಳಿಸಲು ಪ್ರಧಾನಿ ಗುರಿ ನಿಗದಿಪಡಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಜಾಗತಿಕ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಧಾರಣೆಗಳನ್ನು ತರುವಂತೆ ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿಯವರು ಮಾಡಿರುವ ಮನವಿ ಕೂಡ ಫಲ ನೀಡಿದೆ. ರಕ್ಷಣೆ, ಇಂಧನ, ಹವಾಮಾನ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ, ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ, ಮಾನವ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ವಿಷಯಗಳು ಅಮೆರಿಕ ಭಾರತ ದ್ವಿಪಕ್ಷೀಯ ಮಾತುಕತೆಯ ವೇಳೆ ಚರ್ಚೆಗೆ ಬರುವ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಯಿದೆ. ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿಯವರ ಆಡಳಿತದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಗತ್ತು ಭಾರತವನ್ನು ನೋಡುವ ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ಬದಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಭಾರತದ ಆರ್ಥಿಕತೆ ಹಿಂದೆಂದಿಗಿಂತಲೂ ಉತ್ತಮವಾಗಿದೆ. ಭಾರತ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಿರುವ ತೀರ್ಮಾನಗಳನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಚಿಂತನೆಗಳನ್ನು ವಿಶ್ವ ಆಲಿಸುತ್ತಿದೆ. ಭಾರತ ವಿಶ್ವಕ್ಕೆ ಹಲವು ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾದರಿಯಾಗಿದೆ. ಸೌರ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆಗೆ ಒತ್ತು ನೀಡಿ ಜಾಗತಿಕ ತಾಪಮಾನ ನಿಯಂತ್ರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂದಾಗಿದೆ. ಭಾರತದ ಕರೆಗೆ ಹಲವು ದೇಶಗಳು ಓಗೊಟ್ಟಿವೆ. ಭಾರತ ಆಲಿಪ್ತ ನೀತಿ ಅನುಸರಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ದೇಶಗಳೊಂದಿಗೆ ಉತ್ತಮ ಬಾಂಧವ್ಯ ಹೊಂದಲು ಮುಂದಾಗಿದೆ. ಭಾರತದ ಈ ನಿಲುವು ವಿಶ್ವ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ತನ್ನದೇ ಸ್ಥಾನ ಹೊಂದಲು ನೆರವಾಗುತ್ತಿದೆ ಎಂದು ಅನಿರ್ಬನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Suddenly there is an increase in global demand and production and consumption of millet. So this is actually helping us work towards the sustainable development goals in SDG 12. Digital India is a very good example of what India is prioritizing at the G20. So it's not just Digital India, but this concept of digital public infrastructure, DPI. Okay, and for India, Aadhaar, UPI, Data Empowerment and Protection Architecture, DEPA, these are all examples of DPIs which India has developed, and India is an absolute world leader in this space. So India is now importing its idea of DPIs to other parts of the world, and other countries are beginning to develop their own identity systems, payment systems, data protection systems, etc. Okay, so DPI is a very big idea that India has sort of foregrounded through its position as G20 president. The other, of course, is climate action. Okay, and climate collaboration is something which is very dear to Prime Minister Modi's heart. And a couple of years ago at COP26, he laid out the Panchamrit, which is India's way of reaching net zero by 2070. This is a very ambitious target. Third one is reforming multilateralism. For many years, India has believed strongly that institutions like the United Nations, the UN Security Council, and these financial institutions like the World Bank, IMF, all of them need to be urgently reformed. Because, these were created after the Second World War. That was in the last century. The world has changed greatly since. So these institutions don't really meet the needs of the present anymore. So multilateral reform is another urgent need of the hour, which we have been promoting through the G20 as well. India's thoughts, India's ideas about progress and development are being strongly accepted and encouraged by the rest of the world. And the other countries, be it in the global south or the global north, are beginning to increasingly, adapt and implement these ideas. And that is where India's big achievement lies. Okay, it has become the voice of the global south. In the days ahead, there are a number of areas in which we will see India and America working together. Defense is a big area, all right, and this emerging defense partnership is going to be one of the focal points of this India-US meeting taking place. Defense, energy, climate action, technology in a big way, and even education and human resource development. These are all areas in which India and the US are going to work very closely in the years ahead. And in fact, these are all areas in which the two countries are already working together very strongly on. So that is what we can expect as an outcome of this meeting. The way India is now perceived in the world has changed greatly during Prime Minister Modi's time. All right, so over the last 9 years, India's perception as a growing power, as an emerging economy, etc., this is much stronger than it ever was before. So now when India speaks and when India introduces these ideas and launches these new programs, the entire world listens. Alright, so India has become quite a trendsetter for a lot of these areas of development. And if you look at climate action, for example, we talked about that. India co-launched the International Solar Alliance along with France in 2015. India launched this, but today 114 countries, both developing countries and developed countries, have become a part of this alliance. The Global South and the Global North always have joined this alliance, all right? Similarly, India launched the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, CDRI, okay? CDRI has been, praised by governments across the world. And so many multilateral partners, be it organizations or countries, have now come on board to support the CDRI and what it tries to do in terms of, building infrastructure that can withstand shocks caused by climate and natural disasters. So, these are all ideas that India has brought to the world, which now the world is accepting and building on. So therein lies India's power today. And this was never really the case earlier. India must work together with other countries must work with India for all of these changes to become a reality and for the world to meet the sustainable development goals by 2030. Already, there are challenges. Many countries will not be able to meet the SDGs by 2030. That has become clear. But, even if we extend that deadline to 2040 or 2050, these countries have to work together along with India, okay, to make development and growth a reality. That is important. India has a position of neutrality. We are willing to work with all right, and we are in fact working with all. So there may be challenges in one particular area, for example, territorial incursions sometimes. But that does not mean that trade relations stop. Trade is carrying on with these same countries, and this is essential for both these countries to become stronger and better. So, this is a position that India has done very well to take. All right. It is very strategic in the way it engages with its countries, even when those engagements are sometimes difficult or problematic. But it does not stop us from engaging with anyone. We continue to work with all countries.